I cheated on my husband of 12 years because I thought I deserved better. He quietly filed for divorce, took full custody, and moved across the country without telling me. I haven't seen my sons in 14 months. That's how it started. That's the lie I wrapped around myself like a blanket while I burned my entire life to the ground. One kiss at Thanksgiving. His brother. My fiancé's younger brother. And I let it happen. I didn't push him away. I didn't tell anyone. I kissed him back, and then I spent the next 4 weeks convincing myself it meant nothing while I planned the rest of it in my head. My name doesn't matter. I'm 29. I was engaged to the best man I've ever known. His name was Michael. We'd been together for 6 years, engaged for 8 months, and I threw all of it away for something I can't even explain to myself now. Not really. Not in any way that makes sense. I'm writing this because I need someone to hear it. Not to forgive me. I don't deserve that. I'm writing this because maybe someone out there is standing where I stood, telling themselves the same lies, and maybe this will stop them. Maybe it won't. But I have to try. Because I have nothing else left. Michael was stable. That's what everyone said about him. Stable. Reliable. Safe. And for a long time, I loved that about him. He worked as a project manager for a construction company. He came home at the same time every night. He kissed me on the forehead before bed. He asked about my day and actually listened. He was building us a life, brick by brick, and I got bored watching him do it. I hate myself for writing that. But it's true. Somewhere around year 4, I started feeling like I was disappearing. Like our life was a template and I was just filling in the blanks. We'd talk about the wedding, and I'd smile and nod, and inside I felt like I was screaming. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anyone. I just let it rot inside me until it turned into something ugly. His brother, Tyler, was nothing like him. Tyler was 26, between jobs, crashing on couches, and always had some story about a trip he almost took or a startup he almost launched. He was charming in a way that made you forget he never finished anything. He made you feel like you were the most interesting person in the room, even when you knew he'd forget your name by next week. At Thanksgiving, Michael was helping his dad fix something in the garage. I was in the kitchen with his mom, and Tyler came in to grab a beer. He looked at me like I was something to figure out. Not something to love. Something to win. I should have walked away. I should have gone outside and found Michael and held his hand and reminded myself what I had. Instead, I followed Tyler to the back porch. We talked for an hour. He asked me questions Michael had stopped asking years ago. He made me laugh. He touched my arm when I said something funny, and I felt it like a spark. When he kissed me, I didn't stop him. I kissed him back. And when I heard the door open behind us, I pulled away so fast I nearly fell off the porch. It was just Michael's cousin grabbing a smoke, didn't see anything. But the damage was done. For the next month, I couldn't stop thinking about Tyler. I told myself it was just attraction. Just a moment of weakness. Just proof that I was still desirable, still interesting, still alive. I told myself I'd never act on it again. I texted him 3 days later. The messages started small. Just jokes. Memes. Don't tell Michael became a running punchline between us, and I laughed at it like it was funny instead of what it actually was, which was the sound of my conscience dying. By the second week, we were texting every day. By the third week, he was telling me things he never told anyone. By week 4, I drove to his friend's apartment while Michael was at work and I let Tyler take me to bed. I'm not going to describe it. I'm not going to romanticize it. It was fast, it was reckless, and the second it was over I felt like I was going to throw up. I sat in my car afterward and cried for 20 minutes, and then I drove home and made Michael dinner and smiled at him across the table like I hadn't just destroyed everything. That was December 18th. Christmas was at Michael's parents' house. His whole family would be there, including Tyler. I told myself I could handle it. I told myself it was over, that it was a one-time mistake, that I'd bury it so deep no one would ever find it. I was so stupid. What I didn't know was that Michael had installed cameras in our apartment 2 months earlier. Not because he suspected me. Because there'd been a break-in in our building and he wanted us to feel safe. He told me about them when he set them up. I'd forgotten. Or maybe I just didn't think about it. Maybe I didn't want to. He'd seen the texts. Not all of them, but enough. He'd gone through my phone while I was in the shower the night before Christmas Eve. I don't know what made him look. Maybe something in my face. Maybe something in the way I'd been pulling away for weeks. But he saw the messages between me and Tyler. The jokes. The flirting. The can't wait to see you and the last time was amazing. He didn't confront me. That's the part that kills me. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He didn't ask me to explain. He just planned. Christmas morning, his parents' house was full. His mom, his dad, his aunt and uncle, cousins, Tyler, everyone. The tree was lit. There were presents everywhere. Michael's mom had made her famous cinnamon rolls, and the whole house smelled like sugar and pine. Michael was quiet. I noticed it, but I didn't ask. I thought maybe he was stressed about work. Maybe he was tired. I kissed him on the cheek and told him I loved him, and he looked at me like I was a stranger. After presents, his dad suggested we all watch something together. A movie, a show, something to wind down before dinner. Michael said he had something better. A slideshow he'd made of our relationship. A surprise for me, for the family, to celebrate our engagement. His mom started tearing up before it even started. She kept saying how thoughtful he was, how lucky I was to have him. I smiled. I said I couldn't wait to see it. The TV flickered on. The first few photos were real. Us at a concert. A vacation to the coast. The night he proposed, my face lit up with shock and joy. Everyone was laughing, pointing, awing at the memories. Then the screen went black. And then it wasn't photos anymore. It was security footage from our apartment. Time-stamped. December 18th. Me walking in with Tyler. Me kissing Tyler in our living room. Me leading Tyler to our bedroom. The footage cut before anything explicit, but it didn't need to show more. The silence in that room was so heavy I thought I would choke on it. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, while Michael's entire family watched me destroy their son. His mother made a sound I'll never forget. Like something had been torn out of her. Tyler bolted. Just grabbed his coat and ran out the front door without a word. No defense. No apology. Nothing. He left me there alone to face all of it. Michael's father stood up slowly. He didn't look at me. He looked at his son and said, "I'm so sorry." I tried to speak. I tried to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. I reached for Michael's arm and he pulled away from me like I was poison. "Don't," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Don't touch me. Don't say my name. Don't ever speak to me again." I started crying. I was begging, I think. I don't remember the words. I just remember the feeling of falling and knowing there was nothing to grab onto. His mother stood up and walked over to me. I thought maybe, just maybe, she would say something kind. Ask me to explain. Give me a chance. She slapped me across the face so hard I tasted blood. "Get out of my house," she said. "And don't you ever come near my family again." I grabbed my coat. My purse. I stumbled out the front door into the snow. I didn't have my car because we'd driven together. I walked 3 miles to a gas station and called an Uber and sat on the curb crying until it came. Michael didn't come after me. Nobody did. I sat in our apartment that night, alone, surrounded by our things, and I knew with absolute certainty that nothing would ever be the same. I kept checking my phone, hoping he'd call, hoping he'd yell at me, hoping he'd give me something to fight against. But there was nothing. Just silence. And that silence was louder than anything he could have said. The next 3 days were a blur. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I just sat in our apartment and waited for Michael to come home, to scream at me, to throw things, to do something. But he never came. His phone went straight to voicemail. His location was off. I drove by his parents' house twice, but his car wasn't there. I texted his sister, his friends, anyone I could think of, but no one responded. I had been erased. On the 4th day, I got a certified letter. It was from a lawyer. Michael was terminating our lease and requesting that I vacate the apartment within 30 days. He'd already paid his half through the end of January. The engagement was off. He requested no further contact. There was no anger in the letter. No insults. No accusations. Just cold, clinical language. Like I was a transaction he was closing out. I sobbed so hard I couldn't breathe. I tried calling him one more time. The number had been changed. I tried his email. It bounced back, address not found. I drove to his office. Security met me at the door. They said my name was on a list. I wasn't allowed inside. Michael had planned this. Not in a rage. Not in a moment of weakness. He had systematically, methodically removed me from his life like I was a tumor he needed to cut out. And the worst part? I couldn't even blame him. I would have done the same thing. Anyone would. My friends found out within 48 hours. The video spread. I don't know who shared it first. Maybe one of Michael's cousins. Maybe someone at the party recorded the TV on their phone. But by New Year's Eve, it was everywhere. My coworkers had seen it. My college roommates had seen it. My own mother had seen it. She called me crying. Not because she felt sorry for me. Because she was ashamed. How could you do this? She kept saying. After everything we taught you. How could you do this to that boy? I didn't have an answer. I still don't. My job was the next thing to go. I worked at a marketing firm, small but well respected. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone. By the time I came back from the holiday break, the video had already made the rounds. My boss called me into her office on January 3rd. She didn't fire me. She just said it might be healthier for everyone if I took some time to reassess my priorities. She offered me a severance package if I resigned quietly. I signed the papers that afternoon. I moved out of the apartment a week later. I couldn't afford it on my own anyway. I put most of my things in storage and moved into my childhood bedroom at my parents' house, 34 years old and sleeping under a poster of a band I'd loved in high school. My father wouldn't look at me for the first 2 weeks. He'd just get up and leave the room whenever I walked in. My mother tried to be supportive, but I could feel the disappointment radiating off her like heat. I'd humiliated them. In a small town where everyone knows everyone, I'd made our family name synonymous with betrayal. I tried to reach Tyler once. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted someone to share the blame with. Maybe I wanted to yell at him for running. Maybe I just wanted someone to tell me I wasn't a monster. He didn't answer. His social media was gone. His phone number was disconnected. I found out through a mutual friend that he'd left the state, moved somewhere out west to start fresh. He told people I'd seduced him. That I'd pursued him. That he was just a victim of my manipulation. And people believed him. That's what broke me more than anything. Not that he lied, but that people believed it. Because it was easier to believe that I was some kind of predator than to accept that a man could be equally responsible. Because society loves a villain, and I'd handed them the perfect one. The comments online were brutal. Someone had posted the video to a drama subreddit. Then it got picked up by YouTube channels, the kind that narrate Reddit stories with robot voices. My face was blurred, but anyone who knew me could tell it was me. The comments called me every name you can imagine. They said I deserved to lose everything. They said Michael was a hero. They said I should never be allowed to be in a relationship again. Some of them said worse. I started getting messages from strangers. Threats. Harassment. People I'd never met telling me to hurt myself, to disappear, to die. I had to delete all my social media. I changed my phone number. I stopped leaving the house except for groceries, and even then I wore sunglasses and a hat like some kind of criminal in hiding. Because that's what I was. A criminal. Not legally, maybe. But morally. Socially. I had committed a crime against the person who loved me most, and now I was serving my sentence in public. The worst part was the loneliness. I had friends before. Or I thought I did. But when the video came out, they disappeared one by one. Some of them sent me long texts about how they needed space or couldn't support what I did. Others just ghosted me entirely. By February, I had no one. Just my parents, who could barely stand to look at me, and my own thoughts, which were slowly eating me alive. I started drinking. Not a lot at first. Just a glass of wine to take the edge off. Then 2 glasses. Then a bottle. Then I was waking up at noon with headaches and empty bottles on my nightstand and no memory of how I'd gotten there. My mother found me passed out in the bathtub one night, fully clothed, and she just stood there and cried. "You're killing yourself," she said. "And I don't know how to save you." I didn't either. I started seeing a therapist in March. My mother made me. I didn't want to go. I didn't think I deserved help. But I went anyway, because I didn't have the energy to fight about it. My therapist was kind, but she didn't let me off the hook. She didn't let me blame Tyler or blame Michael or blame my upbringing or blame anything except myself. She made me sit with what I'd done. Made me look at it without flinching. "You made a choice," she said. "You made a series of choices. And now you have to live with the consequences. That doesn't make you irredeemable. But it does make you responsible." Responsible. That word haunted me. I tried to write Michael a letter. Not to ask for forgiveness. Just to apologize. To tell him I understood. To tell him I hoped he found someone who deserved him. I sent it to his parents' address. It came back unopened, marked return to sender. His mother had written something on the envelope in red ink. Just 2 words. Never again. I threw the letter away and cried for 3 hours. Summer came, and I tried to rebuild. I got a new job, nothing glamorous, just administrative work at a dental office. I moved out of my parents' house into a small apartment in a town 30 miles away where nobody knew me. I stopped drinking. I started exercising. I did all the things you're supposed to do when you're trying to become a better person. But the emptiness never went away. I'd be washing dishes and suddenly remember Michael's laugh, and I'd have to grip the counter to keep from collapsing. I'd see a couple holding hands on the street and feel a physical pain in my chest. I'd wake up in the middle of the night reaching for someone who wasn't there. I checked his social media once. Just once. He'd gotten engaged. To someone new. A woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. They looked happy in the photos. Really, genuinely happy. I closed the app and didn't open it again. I'm 30 now. It's been almost a year since that Christmas. I'm still in therapy. I'm still alone. I'm still carrying the weight of what I did everywhere I go. People ask me sometimes if I've forgiven myself. I don't know how to answer that. How do you forgive yourself for something like this? How do you look in the mirror and accept that you're the kind of person who could do what I did? Some days I think I'm getting better. Some days I almost feel normal. And then I'll see something, hear something, remember something, and it all comes flooding back. The footage on that TV. The silence in that room. The look on Michael's face when he realized who I really was. I don't blame him for cutting me out. I would have done the same thing. I do blame him for posting the video, sometimes, when I'm feeling sorry for myself. But then I remember that I'm the one who gave him the ammunition. I'm the one who brought his brother into our bed. I'm the one who turned our love into a weapon he could use against me. I earned this. Every bit of it. If you're reading this and you're thinking about cheating, if you're telling yourself it's just a kiss, just a text, just a moment of weakness. Stop. Stop right now. Because I was you. I told myself the same lies. And now I'm alone in a one-bedroom apartment at midnight, writing this confession to strangers on the internet because I have no one else left to talk to. Michael will never forgive me. His family will never forgive me. My own family looks at me differently now, and they always will. I don't have friends anymore, not real ones, just acquaintances who don't know my history. I'll never get married. I'll probably never trust myself to be with anyone again. I thought I was bored. I thought I deserved excitement. I thought I could do better. Now I know the truth. I didn't deserve him. I never did. And by the time I realized what I had, it was already gone.